You know what's really irritating me and bothers me and drives me nuts is the fact that we live in a world where if you're not on one side and you're on the other, then we hate you. I'm all about having conversations. The whole idea of America is to be able to discuss what's going on between opinions, politics, all that stuff. And yeah, you're not always going to win in politics and religion and stuff like that. And I'm always told never talk about religion and politics. Here's the deal. I don't have to agree with what you say, and you don't have to agree with what I say. That's plain and simple. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to agree with what I think, and I'm not going to agree with you on everything. It's just not going to be. But to have cooperation, to have an understanding, you need to have discussion. And for the last 12 years, 10 years, 9 years, someplace in there, it's been you either you love Trump, you hate Trump. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in the middle. I don't really like him, but I hate what's on the other side. There is a third option. I've seen posts that are from people that are getting to know people and just talking, or dating apps. If you're a MAGA, we're not going to get along. If you're a Biden voter, you're not going to get along. I'm autistic and I'm ADHD. My focus is very focused. You give me a conversation, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to go until it's settled. Maybe that's part OCD too. But I want to hear the full conversation. I want to hear the results. And yes, my Christmas lights are on. But I have a birthday this month. My daughter has one next month. So it's kind of a combination Christmas and it moves into birthdays. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm sure you have a question about the lights. But here's the thing. To understand where the other person's coming from, to understand our thought process, to understand stuff, you need to discuss. To be a Christian, you have to have disagreements. The Bible says very strongly that what is wrong and what is right. We are to love the person but hate the sin. Now, you can't be loving a person and not seeing something wrong and saying, hey, that's wrong. Now, there's a point where you say, okay, that's wrong. There's also a point when you say, okay, I got to make sure I'm showing love by showing that I care about a person. Then just say, you're wrong, I'm right, that's it, end of story, shut up. That is not the way you discuss things. And recently, this whole Minnesota thing, there are several factors involved. And I don't want to get into all of it because I'm not here to talk about politics. But I got somebody who literally told me they wanted me to show them some things, which I did. They didn't agree with what was seen. Okay, fine. But then they said I was harassing. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm harassing when I said I was going to provide this. I did. And then they said an opinion. I gave my thought, which I thought was a conversation. And all of a sudden it went from conversation to all of a sudden I'm harassing and attacking and not agreeing. And my thing is the fact I thought we was in a pure discussion. Hardly ever talk. I'm trying to have a discussion. I finally said I was done with some people. Finally said I was done with people because one, there was 3 people involved in this story. And I'm not giving names or details. But somebody said has been blaming me for a bunch of stuff and saying I should be arrested. Never had a cop come to my door. Never talked to any authorities for any of these reasons. Never got accused of anything except by him. Never had a bank ask for return of funds. Never any of this information when everything was supposed to be figured out. Never had a restraining order. Never had any of this stuff happen. But nobody second guessed and thought that maybe I was right. Nobody ever gave me the benefit of a doubt. And every time I'd bring it up, I'm thinking about the past. Every time I'd bring it up, because now in the present, the same crap is still going on. And with that person, I did call the cops. I did say I want to be left alone. The person switched around and said that they called on me and got a restraining order, which did not happen. And all this stuff's getting switched around. And I finally let it out on how I feel, my side of the story, how I feel. And I am blocked by all of them because they didn't want to give a darn about what I had to say. Jesus said, tell the truth and truth will set you free. I'm free. I don't care. I care that I lost some people close to me. But I'm not hurting because I did what I thought was right. I pray for those people. And now after that, now I'm in the situation again for something totally different because of a difference of opinion, because of facts that I have seen, facts I have known, in which if you disobey authority, and people have come up to me and be like, you know, well, if a situation is a fact, they're taking your friends away, you're just going to let them? And I'm like, if they have guns and they're authority and I can get arrested for trying to resist, yes, they can take them. I will fight in court if they're in the right. I will pay for an attorney. I will take out a loan to get an attorney if I have to. But fighting with a gun or fighting with a cop right in front of your house is not going to solve a darn thing. And putting myself in a situation with a gun, touching a cop will get you arrested. Let's be reasonable here. And when people are constantly saying, stay out of it, but you're pushing your way into a problem when you are constantly being told by the authorities to stay out, what's going to happen? Is the situation right where the person got shot and killed in Minnesota? No. It's not really my place to be judge, jury, and executioner. I don't agree with the situation, but on the other side, there are a lot of things that are in play and a lot of things I have seen, and not by the right news or the left news, but other sources that are trying to be neutral. One of the things by one of the cops themselves saying that their life is in jeopardy. They got a death threat. They showed the text. They put their thumb over the thing and literally says it, that we are a special brand of people that are out to kill you guys, and we know exactly what your car is, what your details are, what this is, what that is. And he got out and showed the vehicle he was in, and all the details were there, and in what street, and everything else that they were staying at. And if they aren't out, they're dead. I'm sorry. I don't know if what happened with the Alex Preddy, whatever his name is right, but they are there trying to provide law and order, and whether they're in the right or wrong, they are fighting for their lives. What do you expect to happen when you have somebody going in your face with a gun? You know, whether it's holstered or out, what do you expect is going to happen? You get in a fight with a cop with a gun, what do you think is going to happen? Unlawful order. It happens in Texas, Ohio, Indiana. Nothing's going to happen. You do it in Minnesota, oh, heaven forbid, a war comes to happen. The point I brought out was the fact that the guy never got involved. When they said stay back, nothing would have happened. I don't condone what happened, but I'm not there. The people that are telling me we don't condone murder, you're not there in that situation. You're not the law enforcement. You're not the people that are right in the middle of the pocket. And I'm sorry, when the gun was actually shown, it was after or right when the shots were fired. And you can't hear this. You can't hear somebody yelling, "Put the gun down." It is a crime to touch a federal agent. And yes, he might have just been trying to get space between whoever the cop had on the ground, but he put his hands on a cop. What do you think is going to happen? They is being told to stay back. He put a hand on a cop, and you can say whatever you want. Maybe it was just to kind of give himself space. Maybe it was just because he didn't want to do it. Then he held his hand up after the fact. What looked like a phone in his hand when he's walking in there, do we really know what it is? We see a light shining on it from a distance. Nothing tells me it looks like a phone. I'm not going to say it doesn't. And it probably was. But I'm not there. And the lighting to me was not enough for me to tell. And maybe it's the angle I had. Maybe it was the videos I saw. And most of the videos on the left side channels like CBS, Facebook, all that stuff, there is no talking. And the videos I saw, there's talking in it, and it's clear. Put the gun down. Get away from the situation. Don't get involved. All that stuff was being said before anything else happened, before the guy even jumped in. We are taught from a young age, and it has been taken away from us. And they're trying to take it away from us, where a child is to respect his parents or her parents. The Bible strictly says, child, respect your parents, for this is right. But the parents have to have a style of respect back. We have to step back for our kids and let them make mistakes. And if somebody thinks because I say I'm going to do something and I do it a couple days later, that's harassment, I'm sorry, you asked for it. I'm autistic and I'm ADHD. I see things a certain way. My videos are from a certain point of view. They are my point of view. I see things from my light. Yes, I saw where the cops pulled the gun away. Yes, I saw where the guy was shot. I do not by any means condone what happened. I'm not there. I can't be judge and jury and executioner of a situation which I am not in the middle of. And I don't care what I saw. I'm not in that pressured moment where I feel threatened. It's easy to sit on a couch and say, I disagree with something and not be educated enough to know how it feels. You go through training as a cop. You are told to protect yourself first. And in the videos, maybe the guy never pulled his gun, but I heard put the gun down. I heard stay out of the confrontation. Stay back. Before anything happened, I heard stay back. Why is that not being shown? Because if the guy stayed back, then he would not have got involved. His hands would not have gone to the lady. He would not have been pushed over. And he would not have been shot. None of that would have happened. But nobody's talking about the fact that he disobeyed a direct order by law enforcement to stay out of the trouble. It's a it's a cop's fault if they shoot somebody, but it's not the citizen's fault for getting in trouble. George Floyd was on drugs. George Floyd was in a situation where he was high and he had a heart problem or whatever the case was, where he was going to die. The drugs made him so he had whatever the problem was. I don't remember. Did the cops use excessive force? I'm not there. It's easy to look on a video and say, yeah, you're wrong. From what I understand, I think and I'm not defending the guy by any means. I'm not saying this to defend the guy. But he was supposedly fighting a cop. And if I remember correctly, he was kind of fighting. You talk about the kid with the guy down in Florida many years ago. The kid reached in a pocket as if he had a gun. He had his airsoft gun, but he was reaching in his pocket. And they thought he was pulling a gun, so the cop pulled the trigger. We're going to all these situations. The lady that got shot because she was trying to run over a cop. I don't know the situation. I'm not there. But the cop the week before it had the similar situation. Same cop. And somebody else went after that person. I don't think they killed that person. But from what I understand, the cop got hit by the car. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know the full story. I'm not getting involved. But that's the thing. I'm not involved. I don't feel the pressure. And it's easy to say the cop's wrong and should go to jail. It's easy to say the cop committed murder. It's easy to say the ICE agents are out there just to kill people. We're not there. We don't see what's going on. And a lot of times the media doesn't show what's going on. But if a cop says, do not get involved, and I know I keep saying this, but it's that simple, and people don't seem to have the understanding of this. If you listen to when a cop says, don't get involved, guess what? There's no trouble. Situations in Florida, Texas, Ohio, Indiana, there's not been any problems. Why? Because the cop says do not get involved. They stay back. Are they recording? They're allowed to. Are they allowed to hold guns? Yes. Are they getting involved with the gun on their hip? No. Common sense. And to have a conversation about it and not be able to have a conversation is stupid. God said, thou shalt not murder. I can't condone what the cop did, but I can't be against him because I was not there. So I think it's wrong. From what I saw, yes. But if the guy never got involved, it wouldn't have happened. Everybody is missing the point. If the guy did not get involved, he would not be dead. Period. And that stupidity of our government, if we don't start coming together, guess what? Our country is done. Countries that get separated because of stupidity like this, and I'm saying stupidity because it's stupid on the right side because the cops put themselves in a situation not knowing what they're thinking or what they're going through. But the government has sent somebody there. Minnesota's living in disarray because they have some Muslim person sitting there in which the Muslims, guess what? And I'm not against Muslim people. I have a couple people I've become friends with a long time ago. I don't really talk to them much. I don't really come across them that much. When I do, they're working and I deal with them and it's no big deal. They're offering food. Okay, great. Thank you. I don't hate them. I don't hate Christians, don't hate Muslims, I don't hate Jewish people, I don't hate any of them. I like everybody. But on the other side, if you're using no common sense, I don't care. But here's the big thing. You look at the Quran, and it says anybody that doesn't believe like they should die. Word for word, it's in the Quran. Where it's at, I'm not exactly sure, but I remember somebody actually studying it and actually showing me the exact words. It was in their language. And he translated. And I've heard similar translations since on the same thing. I can't quote it off the top of my head because I don't remember. I'm a Christian. I can't remember the exact verses of a Bible. I can go through and that's why I paraphrase on my videos all the time, because I can give you the address. I can give you what the Bible says. I always forget the address of the Bible. And God's not going to care if I can remember if it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Ephesians, Galatians. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Limitations. He's not going to care about that. He's going to care about the fact that I can quote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son." For a sin, really misquoted line, an eye for an eye. But the Bible says it's not an eye for an eye, but to turn your cheek so they can smite the other one also. I can't tell you these exact verses. But I can tell you one that's there is thou shalt not kill. But also says thou shalt respect authority. Unless it goes against the Bible. And don't make it, and don't misunderstand that I'm saying that what the cops did was right. I don't know. I was not in that situation and there. Did the guy pull his gun? To us, it might not. To some of the people, they said no, he did not. I wasn't there, and there was a bunch of people gathered around the guy. I didn't see the gun until after the skirmish was done and before they shot the guy. Now, yes, the gun might have been pulled away, but he might have still been fighting, and maybe that's the only reason they had, because maybe he had somebody in chokehold. Maybe they had the guy where he was hurting somebody to the point where they had to back him off, and the only way is to shoot because he wanted to let go. I don't know. But if you have a gun in your hand, the cop will not go in there with a pea shooter or a taser. They're going to go in there with the guns. Common sense. I'm not defending the guy by any means. Maybe the situation was done. The guy just shot him in cold blood. If that's the case, then yes, he should be tried for murder. He's going to get tried anyway. He's not immune to our system. He's going to get hit with being arrested. I guarantee that. And have a trial. Maybe he'll get out of it, maybe not. But who is that for us to judge? If he's wrong and he's guilty, he's going to get punished. If he's innocent and he was doing it in self-defense, then he's going to be let go. But I wasn't there, and I can't make that judgment. And nobody wants to hear what the truth is, and that is the fact we are not there and we don't know. I do know they said to stay back. I do know they said there's a gun. I do know he pushed the person. Even if it was with one arm while he was holding the arm up, but his arm went on the agent, which is an automatic criminal offense. I heard that from law several years ago. I heard that from law recently. People that are in the law. I have a couple people I've hung out with that are cops. I have no problem with cops. I have no problems with anybody. Till I do. Different story. But the thing is, if you're not paying attention, if you're not listening, if you're not willing to open the doors, then what do you think is going to happen? I'm giving these videos because it's from my heart. I'm giving these videos because I care about people. I'm giving these videos because we are getting in a state where everything is on a phone. We go to dinner, and I'm guilty of it too. Me and my daughter go to dinner. We go somewhere, and we're on our phones because I don't know what to say. Conversation is not my strong point. We'll look up, and when I really want to talk to her, I'm like, put your phone down. She gets mad at me. But that's because I learned a long time ago, when I'm having a conversation, I want to look you in the eye. I've made people uncomfortable because I can look them in the eye. I'm not looking at their bodies. I'm not looking at anything else. I look at you eye to eye. I was in interviews, I was always told, make sure you look the person in the eye. Don't ever look left, right, up, down, or anything unless you're actually trying to think, unless you talk. When you're giving an answer to a question and you're thinking and you have to look to the side, fine, but as soon as you're done, go back to the eyes. That's what I was told. Because I'm like that. If I'm having a deep conversation, my eyes usually go down and to the left. Not straight down, but down and to the left. Like, I'll look left, then my eyes will start going down. Because I'm not focusing, I'm thinking. It's how I think. And as soon as I'm done, my eyes are right back on the person. Intense, I guess. Didn't have a problem with it until I was interviewing with these little places that had women and doing the interviews, which I've had a bunch of places where they did it, and mostly when I was in a factory interviewing for a job, the woman or a man, whatever, I always looked them in the eye and they're like, "Have a good day." I did these little tiny jobs where our side, oh man, I made them comfortable. I did a security job. I was getting trained at this one place, and I was like that. I made her uncomfortable because I would look her in the eyes. I'm sorry, that's what I was taught when I was being taught to train, to be taught to have an interview. Look me in the eyes so you can show that you're paying attention to what's being said. You're thinking about what's being said. It's how I was taught. It's how I was trained. And all of a sudden, I was in the wrong. When I was in football, and this is my problem, I was taught in junior high to block a certain way. I wasn't very good at that kind of blocking. Nobody was. When I got to freshman year, I kept the same way, and I was told to block differently. I would go play backyard football, and I would do what I was told to do on the field with the coaches, but because there was no pressure, I didn't think about it. I just did it, and I knew what the rules were. And I knew what I could get away with because I wasn't in that position that I was doing. I was in a different position, just trying to do a hands-on bump and run type thing. But as a lineman, we're allowed to put our hands on the person and put them in, as long as the hands are within the shoulders and a certain height. I don't understand that. I do now. But I was horrible at football. As a lineman, I was horrible. As different positions, I was horrible because that was never explained to me that this is junior high to block like this. It's high school to block like with my hands out. Put my hand on a shoulder pad and lift up. They would say that and it didn't click because I was taught to keep my hands in. Autism stuck in right there. I was a horrible player. I had some people that were friends on my team and they're like, yeah, you actually are good. Now I think something was being made fun of, but you know what? I don't really care. I was bullied in high school, and I think part of it was the fact I was autistic, and if things didn't go my way, I got upset. Now it's just, yeah, that was just stupid on my part. I would have bullied me too. But I'm autistic. I didn't know that until last year. I am ADHD. So my boss would always be like, my cousin was my boss one year at one job I had. He was trying to train me to be a manager. I struggled at it. He would tell me something, then I would go do something else. He's like, I'm telling you this and you're saying okay, and then you go do something else. What's going on? I didn't know. I can now look at him and say, you know what? What's going on is the fact I'm autistic. And I also have ADHD and attentive, which means that I can be told flat out and look interested, and my mind's already on the next thing because I'm just too bored and things are going too slow for me at the moment. My mind wants to move on. I'm getting overwhelmed right now with a bunch of new stuff I'm trying to learn because my mind is going on to the next thing, and I'm trying to do that next thing and the next thing and the next thing because what's being hit in my brain is going right through it. I'm giving you an insight into me. This is me being real. This is me giving you how I think, and it might be controversial, and you might not agree with it, and that's okay. Guess what? This is America. You're allowed to think however you want. If I get blocked by my relatives that say I'm being attacking and aggressive, fine. I lost most of the rest of my family. Why not a couple more? What matters to me now is I want to do the will of God, the will of Jesus, and I'm done making excuses. I am done waiting for people to try to justify myself. I am trying to prove my innocence when there's nothing to prove. The truth shall set you free, and the truth is, I don't need them to be a good Christian. I have to be me, and I have to be in Jesus Christ. That's it. I am fed up. I'm fed up with everybody fighting and nobody listening to anybody. I am fed up with nobody listening to anybody. This is my opinion. This is how I see it. And I'm going to say it straight up. If it keeps happening, Maybe nobody sees this part. Maybe nobody makes it this part. Maybe people do. But when it gets to this part, it's plain and simple. If we keep fighting, if we keep getting separated, I firmly believe we're going to let our country be beaten because we are letting ourselves be beaten. No country can win divided. We had our Civil War. I don't want another one. And I'm too old for one. So this is my opinion. I appreciate you guys. And I will catch you later.